وعن عمران بن حسين
Yep.
عن عمران بن حسين رضي الله تعالى عنهما قال كان ثقيف حليفا لبني أقيل فأسر ثقيف رجلين من أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أسر أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رجلا من بني أقيل فأوثقوه فطرحوه في الحرة فمر به رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فناداه يا محمد يا محمد فيما فيما أخذت قال في جريرة حلفائكم ثقيف فتركه ومضى فناداه يا محمد يا محمد فرحمه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فرجع قال ما شأنك قال إني مسلم فقال لو كنتها وأنت تملك أمرك أفلحت كل الفلاح قال ففداه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم برجلين اللذين انكسرتهما كفيف ومسلم خرج عمران بن حسين رضي الله تعالى عنهما يسير كفيف مكسر وكيف two men from the أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم captives أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم and one from the hotel was captive and they threw him in the hot sand in Medina when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed by him and then he called the man called out Ya Muhammad what was I taking when the Nabi said the things the leaders and the best then he left him and then he passed by again and mentioned Ya Muhammad O Muhammad and the Nabi the way which the Rasul Muslim you said that you are in charge of yourself, you are your own method, and you will be no successful.
No.
So in the midst of some mentioning to pull in the people, the
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعن عمران بن حسين قال كان ثقيف حليفا لبني أقيل فأسر ثقيف رجلين من أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رجلا من بني أقيل فأوثقوه فطرحوه في الحرة فمر به رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فناداه يا محمد يا محمد فيما أخذت قال بجريرة حلفائكم ثقيف فتركه ومضى فناداه يا محمد يا محمد فرحمه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فرجع قال ما شأنك قال إني مسلم فقال لو قلتها وأنت تملك أمرك فأفلحت كل الفلاح قال ففداه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بالرجلين اللذين أسرتهما ثقيف رواه مسلم. Sayyidina Imran ibn Husayn radiallahu ta'ala who narrated that the Thaqif were allies of Banu Uqayl. So when the Thaqif, they captured two men from the companions of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. They took a man of Banu Uqayl as captives. They tied him and threw him on the lava plain. Right? Harra refers to lava plain, it refers to like a black pebble mountainous area close to Medina. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he came right that way and he called him, oh Muhammad, you know, why have I been seized? He said, in retaliation for the crime of your allies, that is the Thaqif. Then he left him as he was and went ahead. But then he called again, oh Muhammad, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam again had mercy on him and came to him again and asked that what is it? He said, I am a Muslim, I'm a Muslim. Then he said, فقال لو قلتها وأنت تملك أمرك. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if you had said it, you know, while you had basically control of your own affairs and you were the master of your own affairs, right? Then you would have been successful, you know, in both worlds. So the narrator also added in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's messenger, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he ransomed him for the two men who were taken from the Thaqif, or who the Thaqif had captured. Right? So Thaqif was a tribe of the Arabs, right? It was a branch of the Banu Hawazn, and they lived in the Taif area, right? So Banu Uqayl also was a tribe which was allied to them, right? And like you mentioned, the word Harra there refers to black pebble plain, which is in the surroundings of the mountainous area in Medina. And the Nabi Sallallahu also accepted the word, right? The claim uh, of him to be Muslim. يأجوج 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 يعني. الرحمن الرحيم. Right, so the previous hadith also, like we mentioned, the kindness of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, is how he went to the person over and over again. That shows his kindness toward that person. And also we find that normally a stranger's claim wouldn't be accepted without evidence, isn't? Therefore, yeah, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, yeah, didn't accept his claim and let him go to the enemy territory. This hadith, yeah, is about the son-in-law of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as prisoner of Badr, which was Abu al-As. And then Aisha radiallahu ta'ala عنها قالت لما بعث أهل مكة في فداء أسرائهم بعثت زينب في فداء أبي العاص بمال وبعثت فيه بقلادة لها كانت عند خديجة أدخلتها بها على أبي العاص فلما رآها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رق لها رقة شديدة وقال إن رأيتم أن تطلقوا لها أسيرها وتردوا عليها الذي لها فقالوا نعم. وكان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أخذ عليه أن يخلي سبيل زينب إليه وبعث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم زيد بن حارثة ورجلا من الأنصار فقال كونوا ببطن يأجج حتى تمر بكما زينب فتصحباها حتى تأتيا بها. رواه أحمد أبو داود. That Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she narrates that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave victory to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at Badr over the kuffar, and some of whom were killed and some were brought to Medina as prisoners. For whom Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam received some ransom for their release. So the Makkans have sent ransom to their prisoners back, sent some of the prisoners back. Zainab radiallahu ta'ala anha, the daughter of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, also sent some property to ransom her husband, also Abu al-As. And that in the ransom, it included the necklace, right, which belonged to Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu anha, was the wife of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she presented it to her on the marriage with Abu al-As. So when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam saw it, he was very moved emotionally, and if he had some sympathy for his daughter's loneliness also, and remember the company of his dear wife, this is the Khadija radiallahu anha. So who used to wait, right? Then he said that to the Sahaba, that if you think it's reasonable, that you should release a prisoner who was a husband, right, and return her, no, her with all her belongings, and return all her belongings to her that she sent, no, for his release. So they said yes, they agreed to it, and she did. Right, he was set free. So yeah, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam took his promise that he would allow Zainab radiallahu ta'ala free, unhindered passage to come to him to Medina. And then he sent Zayd ibn Harith radiallahu ta'ala and a man of the Ansar, to Makkah with instructions to wait in the valley of, he said there, Ya'jij, right? Or it's called Na'jij, two times there, near Tamim, for Zainab to come when they were to bring her back to Medina. Right? So Sayyidina Zainab radiallahu anha, she was the eldest daughter of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And she was married to Abu al-As, right? Who was a husband. And she was also the nephew of the Sayyidina Khadija, right? Radiallahu anha. And was obviously we know that all the children of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was from Sayyidina Khadija, right? Besides Ibrahim. So we find that she was married to Sayyidina to Abu al-As, right? Who was the Muslim at that time, right, which was allowed, right, in that at that time it was allowed, right, for a non-Muslim to get married, a Muslim lady to get married to a non-Muslim, right. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sent two men to bring her from Makkah, right, while obviously they were not a mahram. So this hadith is not a proof to say that a woman can travel with a non-mahram lady. That was exceptionally for that. In that case, obviously I was speaking about the daughter of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So no suspicion, obviously, we can attach to that, right, that a stranger, accompanying her. And then, so what happened at Sayyidina Zainab, she returned to Medina, and her husband obviously still remained in Makkah. He was also like about to come. So when the Muslims of the Medina, they heard about him coming to Makkah, right? They wanted to intercept, right? So when she heard, she came to hear of this, then she went to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and said, like speaking about the honor of a Muslim's word isn't to give protection. And then when Nabi Sallallahu confirmed this, he said, I, give the protection to my husband. And that's when the Sahaba, they rejected, right? They didn't go intercept his property, but they still went to him without any, obviously, weapons, not to, for that reason. So they went and they spoke to him, like about him being a noble person, etc., being the family of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they told him to become Muslim, and all his property would be like safe and free. In other words, he would keep his property. So you say that, like that is very, very unreasonable, because you're telling me that I have to accept Islam, and then my property would be free. That's like basically, uh, mixing purity with impurity. And then he went on, people of Makkah, he gave everyone their rights and their trust, and he called everyone together and asked them, did I give all your trust? They all said yes. And then he testified that, now I accept Islam and I become Muslim. He recited Kalima, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. After that, he left his house, everything in Makkah, and then he went on to Medina. Right, and he passed away in the Battle of Yamama. It was in the time of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Okay, inshallah, stop this hadith. Alhamdulillah.